Mr. President, I appreciate you sitting down with us today. One of the big news items right off the top, Teamsters Union, they decided not to endorse anyone because the internal polls for them showed that they wanted to endorse you, but the leadership wanted Kamala.
Well, I know the leadership, and they're very good people, and it's possibly the way they wanted to do it, but we had a tremendous, I guess we got close to 60 points, which is very high, and they were in the 30s, and so we were honored by that. You know, the Teamsters, many of them worked for me, even doing this building, but I built many buildings in New York, and they delivered the concrete, and they delivered it well. So I think they looked at her, and they looked at me, and they said, we can't do it. You know, they've done that for years, decades and decades. It's very rare that they can do a Republican, and I don't know why, but maybe that's going to change. This could be a beginning. But no, we were very honored. Basically, they said, we're just not going to support the Democrat, and that was great.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. The other thing is top of your agenda, migrant crisis right now. There's crime everywhere, hundreds of percent higher of mass migration under Kamala Harris.
And getting worse.
And worse, yeah. And they didn't seem to realize it until you brought up cat memes. But there's also $70 billion last year left the country. There was wages earned by migrants that were untaxed, that were shipped back to their home countries. You talked about mass deportation. Is there any way to recoup some of that money leaving the country?
Well, we can. We can do it through the governments, and we can do lots of different things. But the biggest thing is we have to get these, in many cases, criminals. You know, Carl, many of them come from prisons and jails. They come from mental institutions, I always say, and insane asylums, which is a step beyond. They're terrorists. They're gang members. They're people that are causing tremendous crime in the cities. And their crime is down 70, 80% in some of these places. They've taken their criminals and they put them in the United States. Oh, you haven't seen anything yet. I mean, you have not seen anything yet. Wait till you see. As you know, in Colorado, the governor doesn't know what to do. He has no clue. They're taking over the Venezuelans. They have weapons like military-style weapons, maybe even more sophisticated. And they're walking in, young, strong guys, lots of them. And they're taking over real estate in Colorado and Aurora. And you know what's happening in Ohio. That's been well documented. When you have 32,000 people coming in from Haiti and they're coming into a town of 50,000 people, nobody knows what to do. But I know what to do. And we have to solve this problem. This is a problem created by Kamala and Joe. Joe put her in charge of the border. She's the worst border czar or border person. You know, she doesn't want to be called the border czar anymore. She didn't mind it. For 3.5 years, she didn't mind it, but now she doesn't want to be called the border czar. And she's right. She shouldn't be called the border czar because it's a disgrace. There's never been anybody has done such a bad job on a border in the history of the world, not just here. And we will straighten it out, but she's not going to straighten it out. If she got elected, you would have 150 million people in this country. Our country would be overrun, and our country would be, frankly, it would be a wasteland. It would be horrible.
Yeah. Well, you know, speaking of people coming in, we've had huge problems abroad. Obviously, Iran has hacked your campaign. They've had. How
about that?
And apparently the Harris campaign has been the recipient of some of that. They say they haven't. How do you respond to that?
Well, the FBI said they have. It's gone over to the Democrats, the information they hacked. I don't know what it can be, but I can, you know, it's not a nice thing to happen. I call it Iran, 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 just like Russia, Russia, Russia. We had to put up with that for 2.5 years. And after 2.5 years, I could have told them the first hour, but after 2.5 years, and they know it was a hoax. But this isn't a hoax. This is real. I mean, this is real stuff. They hacked my campaign. They spied on my campaign, and they gave the information to Kamala. So when is the grand jury meeting? I'd like to know. Is there going to be a grand jury? We went through 2.5 years on a hoax. This is not a hoax. This was found by the FBI. I congratulate them for that. But this is not a hoax. They spied on my campaign and they gave the information to the Harris campaign.
Yeah, well, they're not the first people to spy on your campaign, too. You've had issues with that.
Well, we had Obama and Biden spy on my campaign, too. Let's see what happens with that.